So this has a Cypress highlight. It has a to-do wrapper. To-do app is here. Tapos there's some sections. Here's the to-do list, and then here's the LI view and the to-do buttons. So later on, I'm gonna showcase to you, like, we can do the test like step by step. Pero just mind na the classes that they use on the default testing is based on the actual classes that is on the website that it's testing. So for example, here, it's getting the to-do list, LI. So, yep. And then it's asserting. So asserting means it's checking na it expects na it has to be like the to-dos have at least the length of 2. So it's checking na there are 2 LIs here. So you can see there's 2, di ba? Like this pay electric bill and there's this walk the dog. And then you can check it out again if you inspect element. This is going to be an LI inside inside this to do class. Okay, so moving forward, it gets at another to-do list LI. This one is it gets the first one. Tapos, it expects it to have the text na pay electric bill. So you can also do that. Like, you can expect text to be on the page. And then another one is it checks the second LI, and then it checks if it has the text walk the dog. So now that all of the assertions are actually correct, so it passes this test. That's why it's checked. And then it has more text pa din here, like adding new to-do items. So it visits, get, tapos it types, get, assert last, yeah, and all other tests. So I'm gonna show you more example, and then we can do that in step by step afterwards. Sige, so I'm gonna show, for example, actions. So some actions that you can do. So this one is they're doing this on their own kitchen sink website. So there, as you can see, I'm not doing anything. It's doing everything on its own. Diba? It's typing to the DOM, it's testing, it's scrolling. Yeah, it's checking checkboxes. Right here, it's selecting. Right here, it's actually scrolling. Right? So those are actually some of the nice things that you can do. Like, just imagine almost everything that you can do as a normal person, you can automate it using the testing, and then you can record everything. So how will you know, man, if the test is actually okay? So that is by doing some assertions. So sige, let's try another one, and then we do it manually. So let's say if we're just testing, maybe there's some assertions. Sige. Right? Right. So these are like some of the assertions that it has. It expects, it can expect if a class is there. It can expect if a word is there. It can expect if something is not visible or if something is disabled. So there's a lot of assertions that you can do with Cypress para you can use to check if the application is what exactly you are expecting for. Sige, so right now, I think you'll learn better if we do this step by step talaga. Now we create something from scratch. All right, so for this example, we're gonna make a new spec file. We're gonna make a new test file here. So let's just create a folder. Sige, let's just put here in the getting started na lang. Yeah, so let's just create a folder here. Let's name this. So before that, what I want actually to test is this one. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Asana. Asana is like similar to Trello. If you're familiar with Trello, Asana is like much similar to Trello, where I mean you can like have Kanban boards, you can track your progress, your to-dos, and whatnots. So right here, I made a test user already. I registered a test user. So if we're gonna do this manually, so let's say for example, we're just testing manually. Diba? So that's actually what I can suggest also. Like, before you automate your testing, try to test it manually first if you can do it. All right? Para you will have a manual experience first and then you automate the process. So for example, here, let's do this. I'm gonna like log in like a normal user. Okay, log in. So after logging in, it goes to the home page. Diba? How do we know if we're on the home page? Right here. So there's a couple of things that we can check. Like we can check if the logo is there. But I think the best one for here, we can check if this text is here, like this certain element is here, di ba? So we'll go through that. So what we want to do siguro, or what we want to test is number one, if after successful login, we get to the home page. Then number two that we're gonna test is we go to the My Task, and then we're gonna test if we can add a new task. So by clicking this button, tapos putting in a task, like a task here, and then pressing enter, it should be able to create a new task. And then the last that we're gonna do as a task is if they click the task, this pane should show up, right? And then when they click this more actions button and then they're gonna press delete task, it should delete the task from here. All right? Or they will be able to see this part here now the task is deleted. So let's do that step by step. All right? Sige, so I'm just gonna exit this incognito again para we can test it out. So I'm gonna log out para it's like we're doing this from scratch, Jude. Sige. So let's create a new test here, new spec file, and then siguro let's just create a folder and name it let's say Asana. All right? So let's inside that let's put in sige, let's just name it Asana again para just to like simplify things. Take note that I am not necessarily going to teach you tawag dyan, like all the naming conventions, like all the nuances of testing. This is more like an introduction lang on like to give you a boost on like your need. You will be able to understand like there's a need and there's a tool that you can use for automatic testing. Sige, so let's create the file. Okay, so it's successfully created. So the file is already here. So when you check our code editor, we go to Cypress and then integration, Asana, it's there. So right now it's empty, diba? So when you start a new like this spec file, you can actually start it like this. So describe. So what are we describing? So let's say we are describing Asana, and then you pass. By the way, this is JavaScript, but most of the automated testing tool have actually different ports for different languages. So you can also use it not just necessarily on JavaScript, but also on other kinds of programming languages. For Cypress, as far as I know, they only offer it by JS and by TypeScript at the moment. But yeah, okay. So we pass in here the a anonymous function. Tapos, sige. So what we want to do first. So what we want to do first, diba, is on every test we actually want to log in and log out, or actually have a fresh start on every test. So the reason for that one is a tip number one: have a fresh start on every part of this the test as you can. Is that way you can actually like make the behavior of your test more stable. That means it's going to be less flaky test. So right here, what we want to do is every time it makes a new assertion, or I mean it makes a new test, it should like go through the login process. All right, so we can do that by doing this before. I think that's before each, if I'm not mistaken. Tapos we can just pass in anonymous function. Tapos we want to visit the website, right? So we'll go see why. So there's actually a couple of things that you can do here. For some reason, my code editor is not working its IntelliSense. Right. The other one is working though. Okay, let's try to reopen this. Actually, wait. I'm just gonna reopen my code editor para it's gonna restart the IntelliSense part. Sige, what was that? That's GDG, right? Okay. Yep, and then DevFest. Okay, let's open it in code. Let's check now if it's gonna load our IntelliSense stuff. Okay. All right, it's still not doing it. Okay. Anyways, okay. So if the actually on the other editor, it's actually doing here, man. Like my other editor here, but okay. Anyways, but if you have installed like your Cypress, you can already like how you will know like there's a couple of things already that you can do. Like for example here, just gonna transfer this here. So when you go CY, there's a couple of things here like you can clear, you can click, you can check contains, there's debug, there's even get. Get is like the more like the function that you're gonna be using most of the time to get elements out of the application or the out of the web app. So but sige, let's just go through this. So what we want to do is to visit the app asana.com, so which what we did here. The next step that we want to do is to like log in here, right? So we want to know first, since we want the application to type in here, we want to know what's this field is, right? So let's just inspect element, and we're gonna see that it's actually of class login email input here. So there's a couple of ways that you can target something, either a text that it contains or a class or an ID. So for example, this one, we're just gonna use this class kay it's just kanira man this is the only class that's being used as a login email input here. So right, so you can also use actually like the value autocomplete here, but for this case we can just use this class, right? So I have already a copy of that one. So but before that, let's put in our login details. So this is the test account that I created, and then we are going to get the email input, right? So this is the syntax for getting an element that has a class of this class, like login email password form. So question again, where did I get this value? So I just went through here and then right click this, then expect element, then it's here. The input is, it has a class of login email password email input. Okay. So since I'm out of time, I'm just gonna breeze through them. I'm just gonna copy this. Okay. All right. So we're getting the element, the input element for the email, and then we're typing our test email in there. Tapos we're getting the password element, and then we're typing our password in there. All right. Gets pa so far, right? So let's just say na we want to afterwards we want to click this login button. So we do an expect element. The login button has this class login email password form login button. So let's do that. So we're gonna do cy cypress.get then this class. There's also another way around, since as you can see, this is like the only part here that says login on a single element. So you can actually also like use contains, like get and then contains in here para you can just like do something like this. Get tapos what's that type, so let's say button, or let's say contains na lang, contains. So a button, this is a button, right? Oh no, it's a roll button. So you can just like use roll button, tapos a roll button that contains the word login, right? So you can actually also do this, and then you want to click it, di ba? But let's stick with the class for now, para we're gonna be consistent. So let's do this for now. And let's create our first assertion. So what happens here if we log in, we press this login, what can we expect? Supposedly when, no, password is not correct. Let me check. Okay. So yeah, so that's actually one of the tests you can do. Like what if you put in, you intentionally put a wrong password. So it should show this, diba? And then you should test this. So for now, let's just go through the flow that we want to test for now. So when we press login, you can actually check if it's actually logging you in. So we will know if we log in successfully by checking if we're in the home page, right? At least for this example. So we can test that by doing this. So we can test it na like this. So displays home. Tapos inside that, there's this H1 na home. So contains, so I added a timeout here because the default timeout is actually 4 seconds. So as you can see earlier, when you logged in, there's like a couple of seconds pa before it logs in correctly. So I just added a timeout na option here of 10 seconds. This is 10,000 milliseconds. That way, we can give it an ample amount of time to actually like wait for what we want to do. So what I'm doing here is I'm just checking if the page contains H1 with the text or with the value home. So which is this one, diba? If you inspect element this is actually an H1 and this it has a value or text of home, right? So and then it should exist. So let's just keep that for now and then let's run the test. Okay, so it's here. So when I click this, it's already updated man. Look at the magic. And hoping, cross fingers, nothing wrong will happen. There you go. See that? So sometimes it still feels magic to me. Pero I haven't done anything there. I didn't type anything, but it did all of that for us automatically. And then we can even like go through here step by step. Like it went through the website, tapos it types this email address, then it types this password, then it clicks the link, and then now it's loading, and then it's checking if the H1 with the text na home is there. So now our test is done. Diba? So we already had it, it displays home. So since I'm almost out of time, I'm just gonna breeze through na lang some parts. So I'm just gonna copy paste na lang the code that I have here. So what it does is actually we're adding new task. The context here is the task page. So we're testing if it goes through the task page, tapos if it clicks the task, it should show and then it can delete. So let's go through it one step by step lang ha. So what it does is it goes through our test task. I created like a constant lang here for my test task because this is what we're going to type on the task here. So I'm just gonna delete it for now. So before each, again, this before each actually happens every let's siguro for now, since for most of the beginners, let's just consider it like more of your assertions or like more of the scenarios like can add tasks and then can delete tasks. So every time you see an it does this. All right, so it's just gonna click the my task. So as some form of reset. Diba? At the same time, it's gonna log in. So sige, let's do this. So first thing that we want to do is I want to check if it can add tasks. All right. So what it does is it just get this add task drop down button, which is this. If you inspect element, this is this is the add task drop down button. So when it clicks this, it should be able to get the so when it clicks that, it should be able to see this write a task name here. So which is what we are checking here, write a task name. And then when we click on that input, tapos we type in our test task, which is my test task, and then we press enter, and then it should contain the test task. Okay, so that's what we're testing here. Okay, so the next one that we're testing is it can delete tasks. So it's just gonna search if the task is already there. tapos it should be visible, and then it finds the extractions button, which is when it clicks here, it's gonna show the extractions, which is this one. So it's, if you're gonna inspect element that, it's going to be this class. All right, and then it's gonna click lang the delete task, which is when you click this, then meron delete task dito, and it should show this. So that's just what we're testing here. No, nothing fancy. It's just the syntax. You can get familiarized with it. All right, so sige, let's go through it and see if this works. So I'm gonna save and then cross fingers. This works. Let's open. Oh, it's already even doing this. Yeah, one thing that I forgot is to tell is, it's once you save your code, it's actually gonna rerun the test for you automatically. All right, so it's just gonna run this again and then see what it does. Okay, so it's checking if we're logging in. Okay, log in. So I'm not doing anything. Hands up, and then it checks if the home is there. So it's checked, and then now it's gonna reset the whole test again with a different scenario. So it's gonna check if we can add task. So go to my task, and then it clicks the add task, and then there we added the task. So there's some issue with the HR, but it's not about our code. It's more likely about Asana. So now it's gonna test the deleting of task. Okay, so for here it fails because the expected to find element here is my test task, and we haven't given it ample time earlier to type on and then wait for the actual UI element to finish like rendering. Diba? So it didn't really actually push through. Like all it record on the back end is this M1, right? So we can actually fix this. So let's just let's just put this one, and then para we're gonna be able to finish na. We're just gonna delete this really quickly. All right, and then let's go through our code. Tapos, instead of before each, actually we can just convert the we can just log in for once lang here. Let's see if that does it doesn't like speed up too fast or test para it has an ample time, because it's not gonna reset the test every time it's doing a new scenario. So sige, let's try to run this test again. Cross fingers, it works. Okay. All right. It's testing the basic login flow, and if it went through our homepage, so it's gonna check the login. Oh no, this is one of those. Let's just reset this. This is one of those moments where when you're doing a live demo and things doesn't work. Yeah, I'm just restarting the test. Okay, there, tested went well, and added the my task, it's deleting the task, and we're done. All right, so we actually tested the homepage, added the task, and then deleted the task all automatically. What's nice about this is that it's actually like doing everything for you already automatically. You just have to like program it once, and it's gonna do it for you time and time again. So like example, you have like a very big test scenarios, diba? You can just like have it run and then like drink your coffee or something. So yeah, I'm just gonna go through the remaining slides. So just to tell it out here na testing, this is actually a very good tech, but if you're not gonna do it, you're not gonna test it, you're just gonna like procrastinate or like keep the learning at your head, then definitely it's not going to work for you. So try it out, test it on simple projects siguro, and then see the magic that it does.